You can earn $10,000 in just 10 hours by learning a simple skill that actually works. Is it really possible? The answer is yes. How do I know that? In 2019, I went through this exact same thing when I got laid off from my job. And ever since then, I've been able to make my own money without a day job. So in this video right here, I'm gonna actually show you how I use the skill of day trading to actually be able to make that $10,000 a month, even back then in 2019. So in order to make $10,000 in just 10 hours, I'm going to show you the exact chart pattern that you need to be able to see. Now, before we go ahead and just jump straight into the full guide, I want to actually cover this with you, because if you can see that this actual chart here is going sideways, then you're actually 50% away from your goal of making that $10,000. I'm not even kidding you, because the whole goal of a lot of this is finding patterns over and over and over again. The more pattern recognition you have, the higher the chance of your profitability. So this is a chart here of SPY, which is SPY, which is the S&P 500 being the top 500 companies in the United States specifically. And it's all basically come together into one single basket called SPY. And so this chart here is inside of a platform called TOS, so Thinkorswim. And we're essentially looking at the 5-minute chart here, where it says 5 minutes there. The 5-minute chart. So basically everything on this chart here is representation of 5-minute intervals for the day. But again, to go back to the premise here, the whole sideways activity is that if you see this going sideways, that's 50% of you being there. Now, keep in mind, to make things simplistic for a chart can only do 3 things. It can either go up, down, or sideways. That's it. Because it's not 3-dimensional, right? It can't come out to you. It can't do anything else. Those are the only 3 things that it can do. So if you're trying to make your first actual 10K, then you pick one of these and only do the same exact trade every single day when it appears, nothing more, nothing less. This day here, it's doing this. Because let's just play around with it, right? So the stock had opened up 5 minutes here, then next 15 minutes in total kind of went sideways. It shot downward, right? But then what the rest of the day do? It went over here, then kind of came down, then went over here, then it went up a little more, then came down, then it went over here, then it went down again, and then it went up, and then over, down, up, then down again, and then up. That, if I could copy paste that and put it next to this is just a more messy version of that, because it's the closest one to that. It's not going down. It's not going up, right? It's not doing a full up here. It's not. So that makes sense. But let's actually go through what a real trade looks like on a day-to-day basis. Really quickly, I want to walk through a case study of about 500 people that we actually asked the following question to, which is, why have you not started day trading? And the answer back conclusively out of the 500 plus people, it's basically the following, which is fear of failing. Now, I don't know about you, but at least as a whole, when it comes to fear of failing, I completely understand that. But the year is 2024. Layoffs are happening left and right. Layoffs happen year after year anyway, but it's happening much, much more in this current year. And I think the fear of failing your family is much greater than the fear of failing yourself, especially if you're the breadwinner of the family, essentially, because you may be scared of failing when it comes to day trading. You're like, well, I might put in some money, and what happens if I lose $500 or even $1,000? Well, my question back to you is, what if you work at your job and you get laid off and you lose all of it? I'd much rather you get ahead of it and have the potential risk of losing money in a controlled manner because you still have a job, but you can also learn how to day trade, then you just say, I don't know what to do. I'll just stay at the job and hope and pray that they just keep me. That's not worth your family's safety. You need more than one source of income. You need more than one source of income. Sorry, I'm not close enough. You need more than one source of income. Your family deserves better. Stop letting the fear in your heart get away of the future of your entire family. But without further ado, let's get back to the video because you need to learn this. This is not a joke. This is not it'd be so cool to learn day trading and buy a cool fancy car. This is your family's future. This is your future. This is your livelihood. This is finances. This is everything. This is not anything to play with. So let's just get back to it. So first things first, when it comes to trading SPY, because again, that's the only thing we trade here being SPY, the S&P 500, we have to wait till 1 hour after the market opens. So over here in Houston, Texas, market opens up 8:30 a.m. CST. 1 hour after the market opens, it's 9:30 a.m. CST. So here we draw this blue line on the chart at the time. So at that time, all we can see is everything on the left of this blue line. So at that point, we're going to actually then draw very simplistic, boring things. But boring equals more money, so that's all I care about. But we're going to do two things. First thing, we're going to draw what's called a support level. And all it is visually saying, hey, what's the lowest level of where two candles are agreeing? And I just basically draw a line there. So on this piece, on the left-hand side, it's the following question of what's the lowest point of where two candles are sitting next to each other that are the opposite color? It's this, right? So you just draw a line on the bottom piece of these two candles here, all the way over. And then the following thing, we're going to actually find what's the highest point of the day on the left of this blue line. Where do you think it possibly is, right? I feel like Dora the Explorer here. Do you see the highest point on the chart here on the left of the blue line? And if to give you the answer, it's literally, I shit you not, right up here. I'm sure you were looking right up there at 516.92. So you draw it right next to these pieces here, right? 516.62 next to these two candles next to each other. You draw a line all the way over. So after that, then we draw and fit the finalized major demand zone up here. And so that essentially is that support line we drew for the lowest point of the day plus 10 cents. So plus 10 cents, it goes up to here, it completes a green zone, and then you draw it all the way over. And the idea is that you want to wait for when the market opens up, comes down to tap this zone here, and then go up. And that's one trade. Come over, tap it again, boom, it hits it, and that's a second trade. Comes over, taps it, hits it, and it goes up, and that's a third trade, right? And you see, even the same logical piece here. All it's doing is going up, down, boom, jump in the trade, win some money. That's it, right? And then you can see over here, comes around. We'll get to this later. It doesn't actually bounce here, but it goes down. It breaks through it, comes to hit back on the top, hits on top, and then falls down. So this is a way that you can make money by being correct about it going downward, at least at this point in time. So there's 4 trades here, but we'll walk through that very soon. But this is the major demand zone. So we're waiting for things to bounce off of this. That's the point of it. Next is the major supply zone, right? So that's all the way up here. And that concept of this is the same thing. You'll be hypothetically just waiting for maybe something to come up, hit it, potential trade, and it comes down and you make money to the downside. It didn't actually come up and hit it today, but that's perfectly fine because realistically, the way I like to say it is that you only need one trade a day to keep the day job away, and for you to be able to make that $10,000 within your 10-hour period, essentially, because all you're doing is looking for patterns, or even simpler, you're looking for drawing a line, drawing a demand zone, little green zone here, and waiting for it to get retested and retested and retested, and you just jump in once that pattern happens. And there's a key piece here, which is setting the alarms and walking away. And I think the really prominent piece that people do too much when it comes to trading is that they may have this line drawn, they may have this zone drawn, but once it gets 9:30, they have all this stuff set up. They have the problem, which you may have had if you've been trading at all, which is they'll just stay staring at the chart for the next 4 or 5 hours. And then you'll end up jumping on a trade here and here and here, and just everywhere. And it's like by the time you finish, you've had 10 trades. And it's like there's not even 10. Like you'd end up taking all these bad trades plus the good ones, and then you'll end up having negative $10,000, which is not what anyone wants here, of course, right? So less is more, which is the philosophy here. So you need to set the alarms and walk away. So you draw this line, support level, you draw the zone, major demand zone, and on the TOS platform, right, there's a piece that's called an alarm, and you just set an alarm right slightly above the green zone here. So that way, whenever price comes back down to relatively get close to it before it taps this area, you get, boom, a text sent to your actual phone that says, hey, this price level that you set is just got tapped. Come back to it to take your trade. And you're letting the whole system just work itself out. Makes it that much easier. Makes it so you don't lose a bunch of money like over here, right? Makes things that much easier. So next thing, we drew the major supply zone. And so, as I mentioned already, these are the only 4 trades for the entire day based off of this one major demand zone. Here, 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 and here. Now, let's look closer into it, right? So there's 4 trades here, no trades up here. That's perfectly fine. Because again, realistically, you only need one anyway to be able to make that $10,000 in 10 hours. By the way, a question that you get quite often is the following, which is, hey Maurice, I understand you're day trading specifically SPY options, same day expiration contracts. That's cool. But I see you're only day trading SPY, being the S&P 500. Can this strategy work on futures? Or can this strategy actually work on things like Tesla? My response back to you is a question to your question, which is, why would you want to day trade something else when I'm showing you proof that this actually works already, right? It's like you haven't even mastered the fundamentals, but you're asking, can I change the strategy that you said works to put it on something else that I'm not sure works? Like, it doesn't logically make any sense, you know? So here's an example, I guess. When you kind of think about it, when a lot of us learn how to drive, we usually have a tutor. And the tutor, maybe your parents, maybe an actual driving instructor, whatever it is, they tell you the main core, 3 things when it comes to driving. There's a lot of things, but main three things. There's a gas pedal that makes you go forward. There's a brake pedal that makes you stop. And then there's a steering wheel where you can go left, right, or keep things straight. And you are essentially coming to me and saying, Maurice, got you. You're showing me how to drive. This makes sense. Those are the 3 components. But you know what? What if I put my foot on the gas, but also keep my foot on the brake pedal at the exact same time? And that way I maximize my safety because my foot's always on one pedal at the same time. It's like, what? I mean, like, I get it, and it's a valid question, and questions are 100% able, you should ask questions, but don't change and modify how things are being done the correct way and that how actually things are working before you actually get it to work. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. So regardless, keep things simple. If this is the strategy, I specifically made it for the specific ticker being SPY for a specific reason. It works off basically the personality of how SPY actually moves on a fundamental data-driven perspective. So without getting too detailed, I'll leave that there. But anyway, that's a question I just wanted to address really quickly. So we jump in a closer view, right? We're still looking at SPY being the S&P 500. But now we're looking at the 1 minute chart because this is where we do our actual entries specifically. So we'll look at this area here. This one over here is the one over here, right? Or excuse me, sorry about that. It's the one over here that we'll be looking at, the 3rd circle. So this circle here, where we're having this major demand zone with the bounce happen, you see it came down, kind of went a little sideways, and then bounced upward. But the main key piece I want to show you on that 1 minute view is that the purpose is for it to go in this upward trend. Because once it shows you proof that it's bouncing upward off of the green zone, right, off of this zone over here as a whole, then that's where you can potentially take this trade because, hey, it's the chart telling and screaming at you, hey, what you said, being you drew the major demand zone, you drew the support line, and it's bouncing, it's working. Now you should enter the trade. So let me show you how to enter the trade because there's components to that tell you exactly what to do, when to do it, and why to do it. So first things first, you identify what's called a zone candle that I came up with. And it's basically a candle that once it comes down and it taps inside of the zone, it's called a zone candle. It's usually, if there's a green zone, it's one of the first red candles essentially, followed by the number of green candles that we do need. And then after that, then we have the next green candle after that because it's basically goes green to red. So there's going to be the reversal candle. So it's showing proof that it's bouncing up, right? And then after that, we have another green candle, which is called the confirmation candle, because it's confirming that the reversal candle is true. And I know what you may be thinking. You may be thinking, well, this is a zone candle, reversal, confirmation, but what about like all this stuff over here, right? So it has to follow the pattern. So let's say if we just tried to say this right here is the zone candle, then this right here is maybe the reversal candle. Well, this isn't a green one right here, so there's no confirmation candle. It has to restart, basically. So we need that pattern, or at least upward direction, right? Showing proof that it's going upward for it to make sense. So that's why this is the zone candle. Then boom, it's a reversal. Then boom, it's a confirmation. And then finally, boom, we have an entry candle over here. And this one's interesting, right? Because you would think, okay, I need the entry candle to be forming right here. But in this scenario, it just didn't, because it was boom, a red candle coming down, green candle came back again, but then over here. So the key principle with this is that if I just highlight these candles here, right, you see that it's zone, reversal, confirmation. And if we enter exactly right here, not at the up here at this candle, but exactly right here, then it's showing upward direction, which is all we want, because it's proof that it's going upward, and it gave us the exact candles we need. They don't have to all be next to each other. It just needs to be the candles in enough direction going up for us to actually be able to make a win. And then boom, this is where that entry piece is here, exactly, because this piece is higher than this confirmation candle. The confirmation candle is higher than the reversal candle, and the reversal candle is higher in this scenario than the zone candle. And so after that, then you have to figure out, okay, that makes sense, but where exactly do I do a take profit, right? This is back to the 5-minute chart, still trading SPY, right? And this is the area where we're at. And it's going to be tight together because it's a bigger time frame, by the way. But this is kind of where that entry piece was, in this area generally, basically. And I'll zoom back in so you can see it. But you need to figure out a take profit area. And so that's predefined. That's going to be the next closest zone from a take profit 1 perspective, that's farther away from the entry anyway. And so take profit 1 is over here. So it's the same concept, right? We drew our major demand zones over here, 2 candles next to each other. We have a take profit 1. It's basically the next 2 candles, right? And we draw a zone, 10-cent zone all the way over. That's our take profit 1. So if we're entering here, our take profit is here. It's predefined before you even get into the trade. That's step 1. Step 2, there's a take profit 2 in case it just keeps going, which in this scenario, it did keep going, right? It broke past this continuously to go up. So we have our take profit 2 over here. Whoops, but take profit 2 over here. And it's the same thing. Next closest zone is this area right here. 10 cents from 514.99. Draw it over to the right. Boom, we have our take profit 2. To zone in and look at what it looks like, we have the entry piece here. Goes up. Boom, boom. Our take profit 1 is this spot right here. Continues to just break on through and hits to our take profit 2. Simple as that. And if you look at it, the craziest part, we did all this. Entry candles here. This is 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is a 7-minute trade. You're well within your 10-hour period to be able to make your $10,000, period. Because it's literally, you don't need that much time. Because you set an alarm. You walked away, waiting for the alarm to go off. You never looked at the chart. I mean, to go all the way back really quickly, right? Go right here. How long does it take you at 9:30 a.m. CST to draw a line, a rectangle, a line, a rectangle, and then set an alarm? That takes us 2 minutes. We'll give you a minute. We'll say 3 minutes. So 3 minutes to draw that. And then we go back to here. And then 3 minutes plus the 7 equals 10 minutes of trading for the entire day. And then you got the whole rest of the day to yourself. And the trade was good quality because if we jump into and show you, right, the entry candles here in this spot and your stop loss, as far as where you actually sell for potential loss if things went the wrong way, can be here and it can be right here as well. You have an option to pick it essentially. But if you're picking the stop loss 1, you're risking 1 in order to gain, and these are copy pasted, right? In order to gain 2, 3, 4 over here. So it's a 4 to 1. basically. Or yeah, excuse me, 1 to 4. That you're risking 1 in order to earn 4. You're risking $1 in order to earn $4. That's a great risk to reward ratio. And that's just for this piece, right? It literally just kept on going. So the next part, take profit 2, it's the 1, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is a 1 to 7 risk to reward ratio. You're risking 1 to make $7. That's a great trade to me. I'd take that all day. So to jump into it, the question becomes, well, how much does it cost to actually do these SPY options? Because again, by the way, I do SPY options for the trading of what we do. Same day expiration, right? It's March 14th. And you can see this is March 14th. And the price point over here at the time was 514. And the price point we're even looking at for the call is 514. So it's the exact same day expiration contract at that point in time. So the cost of it to buy 1 is $104. That's it. Buy 10, $1,040. 50, $5,200. 100 of them is $10,400. And when you sell at this spot over here, right? This is the entry. This is the exit up here. If you sold just one, just literally one, it's $140. 10, 1,400, 50, 7,000, 100 of them, you sell it for $14,000. This is what I trade, by the way. The 100 at this point in time anyway. So the question becomes, at least to start, can you afford to simply just trade with $104 by yourself? Let me know in the comment section below. Do you have $104 to trade? If so, let me know by saying yes in the comments. Next, you may be saying, well, okay, are you saying what I think you're saying? And the answer is yes, because if you can make $1 consistently, or not even $1 in this scenario, it's $36 because 140 minus 104 is $36. So if you can make $36 consistently, or even $1 consistency, plus you understand the strategy as a whole, plus you scale up weekly because this is so simplistic to do, then the goal is for you to get to trading with the 100 contracts, because then you only need 3 trades per month to make the $10,000. And I'm sorry, with the title, I lied, by the way, because I said $10,000 in 10 hours. This is way less. So I'm sorry, my math is wrong, because each trade is 10 minutes. So 10 minutes times what, 3 trades is 30 freaking minutes, which is much less than 10 hours. So I'm sorry, I'm giving you even more time back. But realistically, I'm sure you're happy about that, right? So the question next becomes, how exactly do you get that? So this is your plan that you need to do within the next 4 months if you're actually serious about this. And real quick, don't let not having money stop you from winning. If this is not for anyone that's unemployed. So get a job to pour the gasoline on it if money is the issue, because you need money to make money when it comes to trading. So first month is, because every month has 4 weeks in it. Learn the strategy, right? I have everything that's already out there. It's free. Learn it. Week 3 and 4, practice with paper money, which is fake money on the TOS platform, right? Because you can go on there, you can trade quote unquote live days, but not use your money. It's just fake money. You don't get any profit from it, but you actually just learn everything piece by piece. Next month, then you start trading with your live money, right? Month 1, it's purely practice. And by the way, real quick, when I say this practice piece, I'm not talking about for 5 dang little minutes a day. I'm talking about for hours a day. If you want a number, 3 hours a day. If you work and you get out of job at 5 o'clock, once you get home, eat dinner, talk to the spouse, talk to the kids, whatever it is, but 6:30, maybe 6:30 start, finish it at 9. Finish it maybe at 10. And then after 10, you can hang out with your family and whoever else. But you need to get this game plan in so you can actually make the money. This is not anything to mess around with, as I've already talked about. But month 2, and I'm sure they'll be happy whenever you bring in your 10K, right? They'll be like, oh, you know what? I was okay with you not hanging out because I see the stuff we're doing now. So it's worth it. But week 5 here, you trade with the 1 contract for the $104. Week 2, do the same thing. By then, you've learned everything. You've been practicing. It's the same thing now. You should be able to make that still at least a minimum $1, because you're barely doing anything when it comes to trading. That's fine. And week 7, you scale up to 3 contracts. So it's $100 maybe for the 1, and it's $300 for the 3. Then week 8, you move on to the 5 contracts, right? And keep in mind, the reason why this is structured the way it's structured is because you're supposed to be proving to yourself you deserve to graduate to go to the next level of contract size. Too many people just say, all right, cool, I'll just jump in with 100 contracts, it's $10,000. You're not ready to trade with $10,000 to get $10,000. That doesn't make any sense. Fake check 0. Doesn't make any sense. Start at 1. Start with crawling. Then you can start walking. Then you can start running. Don't start running out of the gates like you're some Olympian. You're not ready. So this is the second month here. Week 5 to week 8. Next month, you can see where it's going, this pattern. We start scaling a little bit faster, but 10 contracts and then 15 contracts on this week. Week 11, 20 contracts. Week 20, 30 contracts. Boom. And then finally, last but not least, 13, 40 contracts. 14, 50 contracts. Week 15, 70 contracts. Week 16, 100 contracts. So technically, at this point in time, when you get to week 16, you'll be able to actually do that $10,000 within a 10-hour period. And if we just break it down, because I know you may be looking at this like, man, this looks way more than 10 hours. 10 hours of live trading is probably what you'll get out of this. Because keep in mind, if with the 100 contracts, we did, what was it? Was it 30 minutes? Yeah, it was 30 minutes to make 3 trades to make the 10K. Just as an example, right? So 30 here, 30 there, 30 there, right? So this is an hour block. And so this is an hour block. 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 And this is an hour block. How many blocks is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, I'm sorry. I still did the math wrong. It's only 6 hours. It's not even the 10. So we can just almost rename this whole video the 6 hours to actually being able to make the 10K. The only thing else I think I can do to give you an extra 4 hours is probably your practicing. But the practicing is going to go way over in the first place. Because realistically, the practicing is on you. The more you practice, the more you'll be able to actually make a lot of profit and be able to stick to this piece here. But overall, that's exactly what the plan you need to follow. If again, you think that, I need $10,000 to be able to trade. Now you don't. You need $100. By the way, if you want to learn the full strategy from A to Z for a much longer video, then go ahead and click the link above in the little tab so you can actually be taken to the next YouTube video that actually show you step by step, very slowly, very precisely, very accurately how to do the full strategy.